Hi, I'm Chuck Dorsett for Weaver Leathercraft. Chapter 5, we're going to dye and finish. And I bet you didn't think Leathercraft took that level of commitment, right? Well, no, in all honesty, super fast. There is no reason dye needs to be expensive, time-consuming, or messy. And you'll see, even with this big panel, it's going to be extremely consistent. But the only reason we can do that is the Fiebing's Pro Dye. You'll be surprised, particularly our production people, because you can dye and top coat a project in under 2 minutes and it's going to be perfectly consistent. Now, dyes, top coats, best in the business. WeaverLeathercraft.com or check below. We've got links there going to take you straight to our website. But first off, just a couple of notes on what we're doing here. All right, first trick here. I've got a trash bag down. Now that's going to protect my work surface. But when we dye on a plastic trash bag, that dye can pool, it's hard to see, it becomes a mess. So I'm going to drop in just some inexpensive, or actually in this case free, shipping paper, packing paper, newspaper. Matters not, I just need something here to absorb my dye. Now, when I'm done, if I've made a mess, wad it up, throw it away, I'm out nothing. But if I haven't, I can simply fold this up and use this again. Now, what I've done, I've popped off our panels, and I've just done a nice easy bevel on the outside edges, but also too, I want to keep my panels separate here because I want to make sure I've got my left panel with my left side. So I'm going to take a Sharpie and I'm just going to drop in a small dot. One side only, that's all we need. Now those two pieces match up, but once we sew this, we'll never see those. And two, most projects, we've got a round hole somewhere. Here we don't. So I've just added a little wax thread, and that's more than enough simply to pull it through my die. Now I want each section of this panel to sit in the die for about 2 seconds. So as I move it through, I want to move this through a little bit slowly. But you'll see with dip dyeing, could not be easier and faster. And in fact, there's going to be dye pretty much on nothing but my project, my paper, and maybe a little bit on my gloves. So let's run that through slowly, tap it on the side, let some of that dye wick back in. And let's drop that right there. Very nice. Okay, with oil dye, I'm going to leave that there and walk away. So let's dye our other two panels, similar fashion. Let each little section sit for about 2 seconds. There we go. Tap on our edge, get rid of that extra dye. And there we go. All right. One more panel. In fact, when this dries, it is going to be gorgeous. This is the light brown oil dye. And it is just one of my favorite dyes. In fact, it's the only dye I use. Now let's tap that. Now I'd like to say too, let's wipe a rag across these when they're done. But you know what? By the time I get them laid out, grab a rag, that dye is already wicked in. So all right, very nice. Let's let this sit here about 4 hours. It's a little bit humid today, so let's just let that sit for 4 hours. We'll come back and it will be beautiful. All right, dried and ready to go. Looks good, nice and consistent and very easy. Now with my dye bin, easy enough to clean out with some paper towels. But also too, a small funnel will help us get our dye back into our bottle. Therefore, the end point is there's dye on nothing but our project, our paper, and our gloves. Everything looks good. In fact, I even put on a t-shirt just in case, but no worries. All right, second note too. I like to keep a baggie in my shop with a rag in it. Now this is lightly oiled, just a little bit of neat's foot oil in here. I don't want too much because what I'm going to do is simply clean the top grain of my leather. I don't want so much oil in here that it starts to leave lines or small puddles that will wick in and they won't ever come out. But all I want to do here is just clean my surface off a little bit. We're using a Pro Dye. Now that's an alcohol carrier, but it's an oil-based dye stuff, and that's all the difference in the world because a powder-based dye stuff, that's one of the contributors to rub-off. But with oil dye or Pro Dye, we're going to have no issue there whatsoever. Okay, so it's clean. Let's go ahead, pop off our wax thread, and we are ready to put on a top coat. Still looking good. All right, we're going to step outside for our top coat because on that one, we absolutely do need a lot of ventilation. All right, we are set up and ready to go. Now we're going to use Sadilac, one of my favorite top coats. It's not a sealant, simply a top coat, but it's a lacquer base, so we need to go very lightly. Now, a couple of tricks to using this. This needs to be warmer or at least room temperature. It can't be chilly. If it is chilly, it's going to leopard on us or give us spots, and we don't want that. Secondly, though, when I spray this, I'm going to make 2 even passes and then clean that nozzle. I don't want it to spit, but if it does, I simply daub that area and it will disappear completely. So let's try it on this panel. There we go. All right, and just walk away from that. Now, I'm going to do the other 2 panels, and this big piece. I like the Saddle-Lac particularly here because it would be really tough to get a rub-on top coat not to streak. And my last pass, there we go, fill in a couple of spots. Well, that looks fantastic. In fact, this first piece, already dry. This dries in about 30 to 45 seconds. All right, in fact, the fly, yep, part of the fun of leather crafting in the elements. But anyway, this is already dry. So let's step back into the studio, take a look at this under the set lights. All right, back under lighting I could control, and I tell you what, I could not be happier with the outcome here. Look at that. Our feathers pop, our dye color's consistent, and that Saddle-Lac gave us a beautiful, nice gloss finish. Makes that color just pop. All right, so we are ready to jump up to Chapter 6. We're going to hand sew. After that, Chapter 7, we're going to knock in a rivet, round our edges, and we are done with these 2 projects. So follow me to Chapter 6 and let's do some hand sewing.